Hello everyone, this is Pooja Ranjan. Welcome to the Ethereum Cat Herder meeting 31. The agenda I'm sharing in the chat right now. So the first item today is about planning Berlin upgrade. Berlin upgrade is like we have started discussing about the EIPs, and now it's time. I think it's the right time to start discussion about it. Last time the ECH group has helped with the Istanbul and the Muir Glacier upgrade. So I was thinking if we can start discussing this beforehand, and would be able to add a couple of more bullet points that we did for the past two upgrades would be great. So I had a couple of things in mind. I would like to just mention it, and then please feel free to add more points that we could do. The first thing that I was thinking is about the website update for the ECH. Though the ECH website has very primary information about what we do, but I was thinking like if we could add the upgrades related information, which would be coming handy for people, that would be really nice. So I started a document, a Word document, as mentioned in previous calls, that we should be adding small things to make this website live, and we can simply send our community to this page to get the updated information. So I shared the link in the chat. This is just the starting and my thought process that what we should be adding. Feel free to add anything else that you would want to. The next item was the update in Meta EAP for Berlin. So I found that Meta EAP has not been updated for a while. So kind of created this pull request. Please correct me, Hudson, Tim, or anybody, if you feel like I have missed out on any of the EIPs. That
you didn't share the pull request. You just shared the document twice.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Just give me a minute. Come and see. Okay. So it's the pull request. I think we are considering 5 EAPs as of now. Out of those 5, 2 are actually in a condition of accepted. One is under consideration, that may or may not be there. But there are 2 more which has not been finalized yet. But I'm hopeful that in the subsequent all core dev meetings, we would be getting clarity on those.
I think time-based upgrade transitions isn't, I would not call that tentatively accepted. I would say that needs more, I would put that in other proposed.
It's still proposed. Yeah, I agree. I was going to comment there.
The 2515 to replace the difficulty bomb with a difficulty freeze would be more tentatively accepted for upgrade, but for now, let's go ahead and just leave that in other proposed EIPs until the next meeting.
Okay, so the only change here would be 2456 should be like in proposed, not in tentatively accepted, and none of the EIPs goes there.
Yeah, and I guess the timeline bit, I'm not sure. I would wait another core devs call before adding that. Like, I think it'll be dependent on how much progress people have done on implementation. I'm a bit hesitant to add it. And another one that's proposed is 2046. So you kind of removed it. But yeah, 2046 is still proposed, and people are looking at benchmarking it.
Okay, so I considered the EFI EIP and the EFI tracker to create this list. So I did not find that. Maybe I missed out. So that's
yeah, the EFI EIP is not up to date. That's really bad. Like, it hasn't been up to date for weeks.
Yeah, so that's the reason I thought that if we could be, putting effort in updating these Meta plus the Cat Herder website, because that is what we can do, and for everything else, it's a long chain to go. So that would be helpful. Okay, fine. I'll update these 2 EIPs that we discussed and, make the commit again. And I hope that we should be able to keep this Meta EAP updated all the time, after every meeting, at least after every all core dev meeting.
Yeah, I think that's really good. And I'd be happy to help updating the the EFI list as well. Yeah, maybe I can look into that.
Okay. Sounds good. And another thing that we may not have done completely, but we would want to, about talking about the EIPs under discussion, like whatever EIPs are going on, and if from the Catharsis team, if we start writing blogs about each of the EIPs, what are the benefits, what are the, both sides story, people liking it, people not liking it, would be a good thing to add. What do people think about it?
Yeah, it'd be nice to have a source of information for that.
So basically, so I think that summarizing the EAP can be hard because you're trying to. I mean, it's not the end of the world. Then you also want to summarize kind of like the pros and cons, right?
Yeah, some information taken from the Eth Magician website, whatever the discussion is going on there, and putting them into not so very technical but general understandable language for community perspective.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think I just think it might be quite hard to do, but we can definitely try. Like for example, if I look at the two EAPs that are accepted, right, the EVM subroutine one, it's like and there's already one. So I guess the BLS 12381, there's already an article about that I think is probably better than anything we can put together. I just posted it in the chat here. And then if I look at the next one, like the simple subroutines for the EVM, it's a pretty technical one. If anyone wants to give it a stab, we definitely can. But yeah, my only concern is like it's hard to articulate really clearly in a non-technical way why I guess both sides of it.
Yeah, I am getting to your point. Like, yes, I understand what you're trying to communicate here. Is because these are very technical thing. It's very difficult to put it into non-technical way and make people more understandable. So I mean, like, we'll see. I mean, if we come up with some or the other EIPs which might need discussion, where I'm trying to go from here is, if there is some kind of tools that we could be used to kind of create general consensus, which we are not easily getting in all core dev call. Because one of the comments I found somewhere was like, in all core dev call, none of the EIP is actually rejected or accepted. People say discuss, but there is no clear. We write the summary of that gives a kind of visibility, but it's not clearly done. So if we could bring it to, I'm not sure. I mean, like, I'm just trying to help with the EIP discussion, but if this seems very complicated at this point of time, maybe we can figure out something and then we'll discuss it back again. So
yeah, I see what you mean. I think that the two challenges I see is first is like the core devs call are the place where it should be discussed. I think, right? If you have like an informed opinion about the EAP, that's like the best place to have that conversation. And the second best place is basically like the Ethereum magicians threads and whatnot. So I guess we should make sure if we do create a summary, we definitely don't want to create another place where people can debate the EAP. I think that always is like a poor outcome because it's like people feel like they went in ETH Magicians, they had the discussions, and then you tell them, oh, you have to go to this other random place to like share your opinion again. And nobody wants to do that. So I think if we create like something that helps describe what the EAPs are and whatnot, we should definitely link back to wherever the original discussion place is. And that's usually tracked in the EAP. Anyways, that's my opinion. I'm just very skeptical of other mechanisms where like you say, oh, you have to like vote there or go there and restate your opinion, just because like people kind of get burnt out doing that, and it becomes a very frustrating experience.
yeah, noted. So if something like this will be there, that would be definitely for the support of the core dev. I mean, we are not separate body. We are just trying to support with whatever they are doing. So we'll be certainly leading them back to the original point of discussion, the GitHub repo or the Magician forum, wherever it is. So yeah, we'll give it more thought on it and then we'll
And
come back on it.
I don't mind trying to take a stab to describe at a high level the 23 anyways, the EVM EAP. I can try to write something up this week on it and share it with you, and then share it with Martin and Greg to get their feedback. Yeah, and we can see if that's useful.
Yeah, that would be a good start. That would be a good start. I mean, like, yes, if you do that and we take opinion of the original author of that, that might help. Yeah, that's the point where I was trying to go, trying to help them get this decision done quicker than usual. Yeah, so that was the thought process.
Sounds good. Yeah, so I'll try and do something this week and post it and try to get feedback.
Sure. So moving on.
Yeah, if I could have just a second, just to, in my opinion, if we could use something like Canonizer, because Canonizer is basically like a petition. People can join and people can sign the petition, so you can see how many core devs may support it. You can see how, and if someone has a competing camp, they can start a competing camp / petition, and the statements constantly get updated, and it's all about falsifiability. Like if someone's not on board and they don't want an EIP, they're encouraged to say what would take to get them on board, and then when you could adjust the supporting camp consensus petition, people can modify that and adjust it, and then you can track how many people are jumping on board via the changes you make and all of that kind of stuff. And Jim and I are going to work on a proposal that we would like to submit to the, I mean, of course we don't want to submit it unless everyone's on board with submitting it to the EIP1, where it says it's the responsibility of people to build consensus around the community and also build consensus around people that are against the EIP. But the problem is if you just do it the way, if you just go to the forums, all that does is polarize people. People yell back and forth, and it doesn't do any good. Whereas if you can go and see real time what everyone thinks about every EIP, and also we want to point out a lot of people think that the core devs have absolute control, but we would like to include a statement that shows the core devs don't have absolute control. If someone can build and prove that they have, thousands of community supporters for an EIP, then and including tracking what the core devs do or don't want, but anyway, I'll get off my canonizer soapbox. But anyway, that's just my opinion. So thanks for the time.
Thanks for that, Brent. We have been requesting core dev, but it is entirely up to them to go to the Canonizer website and do that. But we would be doing whatever we can from our end, at least on the Cat Herder website that I'm thinking of.
Cool. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you for that. So a couple of other things that we did last time was arranging a community call before the upgrade, and we kind of created blogs for testnet and mainnet and postmortem. So for postmortem, I was thinking like if we could come up with a template that what are the things that we would like to generally cover in this kind of report or document for every upgrade. I'm hoping that we should list some of the things that could be, best practices, that could be something that is like, that we did good or something like that. So I'm looking forward to more suggestion on this, like what are the topics that we would want to include in this report. And if people have any other suggestion for how we can improve by giving our contribution to this upgrade, the Ethereum upgrades and hard forks. So please chime in and let us know. So I think we can discuss it in like couple of, like a few more meetings, and we'll
yeah.
Yeah, please.
Do you have a a specific document with the initiatives, or
For
not yet?
for postmortem, not yet, but I will try to
Okay.
come up with this weekend. Like, yeah, I'm working on it, but yeah,
Cool.
just a few bullet points in my mind, but I will come up with a draft.
Sure. Yeah, and I'm happy to look at it as well.
Yeah, sure. Thank you. So moving on, our next agenda item is EIP improvement process meeting. So we shared the EIP procedure survey. I would like to invite Edson. Do you have updates on that?
I linked the responses in the chat. There are about 8, 9 responses right now. There's some patterns showing up, but I think we can still get more responses. I did send the survey to people individually, and after doing that, more people have responded. I haven't sent it out to a lot of EIP authors yet, which is the next step.
I'm going to share it individually to editors, and thanks so much for pushing this, Edson. I know it's annoying to have to bug people about it.
So I was thinking about, like, with the help of this responses that we are getting here, Edson, if you would be interested in doing that, I would invite you to do that. Otherwise, we'll figure out if somebody else volunteers to do. I mean, I was thinking if we can come up with a blog all about EIP, IP, because we have never mentioned anything about EIP, IP outside any of the meetings, just mentioning the name that we are doing it. So if we could do that, it might help understand people why we are doing this in the first place and how helpful it would be. And that would also give us an opportunity to, analyze the responses that we receive. We can share that with the community because, that would be helpful for people to understand where we are and where we want to be. Is it something that you might be interested in?
Yeah, I can help out with that. So, I would be helping out writing a blog for the ECH medium.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could do that. I'll write a draft and have you guys edit it.
That would be nice. Thank you, Edison. So anything more on this survey?
Yeah, do you guys want to know the general responses, or should we save that for the EIP IP meeting, or until we have more responses?
I mean, you can certainly highlight the bullet points and then we can move on, and would be loving to, hearing more about it in the blog. That would be helpful.
Yeah, the recurring things right now is there's a lot of frustration and fear over the EIP process being too political. Other things are finality, pushing things to completion, hearing a hard yes or no for EIPs, and then also just consensus issues where there's fears that there might not be enough EIP editors or people seeing EIPs to form consensus when there's a high volume of EIPs.
Yeah.
Those are the 3. Consensus also with controversial EIPs.
So it feels to me like there's 2, like, I don't know, ways we can frame this. Either you make the happy case easier, right? Like, how do we smoothen the process for non-controversial EIPs? Or either we deal just with the controversial ones. And I think there's probably a lot of value for like the EIP IP stuff to just be focused on like the basic process, right? Like, understand that like some EIPs are gonna be controversial. You're not gonna solve that through a process because people will just step out of that process, and if people disagree with it, the controversy won't be resolved. But maybe if we're writing a blog post, just trying to write like to express that like we're just trying to get the basic mechanics better. And specify what we think is like out of scope for now. I don't know. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I think it's a good start for sure. I just send it out to the EIP editors broadly, and then I'll also make sure to remind them again to do it. But I think what's going to come of this is sometimes I guess the broad point I keep thinking about in my head is sometimes even if a lot of people don't respond, it's about the effort and about saying, you know, we did our best to try to gather data on this, and here's what we did, and then explain that in the blog, kind of like what we did for ProgPow, where even though people sometimes got mad at our results, we at least did it. So that's kind of how I feel about things sometimes that don't get as many responses as we want, but I still have faith that this one can get a lot more responses.
Yeah, and I think, you know, mostly people are, I mean, very, very less people are involved in actual EIP process. So, I mean, if we get even 20 responses, that should be good enough. I mean, like, I think that would say that our effort was worth. So, I mean, yeah, more responses we receive, but putting them in right words to make people understand what issues we are facing and showing that we are putting our efforts continuously to improve the process would add value, I guess.
Yeah, so most of our responses have been EIP authors, which is good. And then core devs and EIP editors second. I think we can move on to the next point.
Yeah.
Unless there's more that people want to say about this one.
Cool. So moving on, the next item is Ethereum cat herders promotion and positioning. The sub-item was placing community promotion ads at Ethereum Stack Exchange. I do not see William here, but Edson, do you have any update for that?
Yeah, I had a question. So who's the target audience and what's the purpose of the ad/image?
In my mind, it is Ethereum community in general, mostly the Ethereum client and the projects. Do people think it differently? Like Stack Exchange is usually used by these people. So I thought that.
Yeah, we want
So
to recruit more cat herders and more people to help out. And if people want to get involved, point them in the direction of cat herders. That's my thought.
Yeah, I agree with that. I guess the thing with Stack Exchanges, people tend to be kind of technical, so you can assume they're probably developers or something.
We could totally use more developers at ECH. Not to say we're like low on it by any means, but like for things like EIP, IP stuff, there's definitely some dev task and like stuff like the website and other things that require programming.
So other thought behind this was, you know, getting more work in the projects as well. You know, the cat herders are doing mostly note-taking job here, and we have started just EIP recently. But if we could get involved with more and more projects, the other day I was talking to Charles about it, and we were trying to figure out if cat herder could be more helpful in MakerDAO or their similar projects. So I was thinking if the projects and the client teams will get more visibility about our team, it would be helpful in both ways, getting developers on here in the ECH as well as some non-technical services that they might need. They might involve cat herder there. So.
Okay, I'll make a few examples based on that. And then I should have it ready this week or by the next meeting.
Thank you, Edson, for that. So moving on, the next item was events and conferences. Consensus 2020, we have shared the list with them, but we are still trying to get another call with them. I will update as soon as I get any responses from them. I'm waiting to I'm trying to get the call in this week. If we could, I will have much more update on that. So I don't have anything else on that to share. The next item is discuss and close the ECH GitHub issues. We have one new issue that is about renew Zoom Pro account. We can see there
And I
has
think, yeah, that's kind of solved, no?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, I did not see any,
So Lane just has to pay for it, and then he'll submit a request for refund. Well, I don't think we have anything else to do there except wait for Lane.
Okay, let's go. So the next item is like cat herders funding. I saw some transaction done by you, Tim, yesterday.
Yeah, I sent out a whole bunch of transactions. I think somebody else, yeah, Charles sent them all, and he started adding them on the spreadsheet. So let me just pull it up.
Yeah, I think it's all there. I didn't look super closely, but I think he had them to the spreadsheet, and I think Lane confirmed that there were no other transactions to push. So all of them from the note taking had been pushed. But I could be wrong about what Lane looked at.
Yeah, and the spreadsheet feels like it's still not 100% done. So maybe, yeah, we can follow up with Charles on that. But
Yep.
if anybody has like outstanding notes that have not been paid, just make sure to like ping us on the issue. I'm pretty sure everything should have been paid out yesterday.
Yeah, I just have a question on that. On the EIP-IP notes, my original understanding was we were going to do $50 or 50 Psi funding for those, but then I heard someone else say, no, it's 100 Psi. And so when I requested funding for one of the notes we did for the EIP-IP, I put 100, but I think that was wrong, and I think we ended up getting 50. And anyway, I was just wondering what is the official number for EIP-IP note-taking funding?
So the number is 100 Psi, and if it has been missed in some or the other meetings that you have submitted, you can just mention the pull request number. We'll pull it out and try to. I mean, if you can make another request, we will try to finish up that. I did not check exactly what you have requested for, but the official number is 100 Psi for EIP-IP meeting.
Yeah, Tim, I think one of the ones for me only got $50. I'm not going to worry about that, but
Oh no, feel free to. Sorry, just ping me on it, and I'll make it right. Yeah. I literally went by whatever was written in the issue. So
okay.
yeah, just ping me on whichever one is wrong, and I'll send the difference.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
Okay, so that's it. The last item on agenda is not last, second last. Number 7, the review of outstanding action items from previous ECH meetings. Unfortunately, we do not have notes for meeting 30 yet. I'm wondering about this thing as well. Like, we have assigned to a person for 2 times, and both the times it was delayed. Like, it's over 15 days, and for one meeting it was over 1 month. So I'm a little skeptical putting him to the next meeting until he shows up and submits. What should be the process for this in general?
We should just have a due date, like say it can be no more than X amount of days, maybe 7 days after the meeting, because if you're getting paid, what is it, 50 or 100 or whatever amount, there should be expectation of due dates.
So
I agree. I was just going to say, I agree 7 dates is good because most meetings have a 2-week cadence. So at least you get the notes 1 week before the next meeting.
So generally, I suggest people to submit it within 72 days. That would be helpful because then that notes could be discussed through the GitHub channel and everywhere else. But I'm okay with having it like 7 days. But if people think 3 days are quite conservative, we can certainly change the timeline.
Yeah, maybe we could put
I think, yeah, 72.
A request for 72 days, but absolute minimum 7 days.
So no, but I mean 72 hours. I assume we're all saying here.
Say yeah.
Yeah. So and I don't know. Should we like penalize if it's longer than 7 days, right? Like we should aim to get 72 hours, and should we say, I don't know, like if it's if it's less than, if it's more than 7 days, I don't know, you just like penalize somehow. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I mean, usually the Gitcoin bounty is there, like if you do not submit, you are not entitled for the bounty. We remove this process and we try to take a control of this so that we should be getting things done on time and in a precise manner. So, yeah.
Does it make sense to then say you should try to get it between 7 and 2 hours, and then if you don't get it within 7 days, anybody else can claim the bounty? You sort of lose your spot.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah, I like that.
So that like people are kind of standing by on the 7th day, you know, waiting to do the notes.
Yeah, but I would still recommend please try to get it as
Yeah,
early
yeah.
as possible. Yeah.
Yeah,
Because
I
that
think we
makes
should,
sense,
yeah, we should aim for 72 hours, tell people that's the expected, but like, you know, sometimes stuff happens, and I think,
Yep.
you know, if it's 7 days, it's not the end of the world, but yeah, so maybe, or should we have it be 5 days? Because this way it'll be kind of like the weekend or something, like,
Right.
so if you try to get it in 72 hours, and if it's not done in 5 days, anybody else can do it. Maybe
Yes.
we can post in the note takers channel to see different people's opinions.
Yeah, 24 hours would be ideal.
Yeah, but I can see how that's like obviously it's ideal, but you know, people
That's
have
what Pooja
things
always does. She's always has it done at 24 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah, does it make sense to just continue this conversation in the note takers channel and get everybody's opinion there? But to have like kind of a recommended duration and like a duration after which, if it's not done, anybody else can do it.
Sounds good to me. I will mention this in the note takers channel and we'll take it from there.
Cool.
So going by the previous meeting, I tried to pull up a few action items that I found there. So the number one is Edson create an image for ECH and work with William on placing community promotion ads at Ethereum Stack Exchange. So he just updated and he would be coming back with a few proposals. Am I correct to say that, Edson?
You're correct. Yes.
Okay, thank you. So the next item is a create target audience specific survey. I discussed about this in the previous meeting, but yet I did not get any chance to work on it. But if anybody else can think of something, please feel free to create a draft of it and share, and we can keep it populating, and then we can come up with a final survey. I think getting surveys based on target might help understand where we are and where we want to be. So we'll work on this. This is again an outstanding action item. The third action item from the previous meeting is William talked to Lane about reclaiming their stake in DXDAO. Edson helped with DXDAO dev contact. Any update on that?
No update from me.
Okay, so we'll wait for William to be in the call to close this or whatever action needed for this particular item. The next action item is Hudson and Pooja will contact Scott about bounty for H2 note making. Yes, we did contacted, and Scott reverted back that he could not place the bounty there because he hasn't received the request from the team since January 9th, I believe. So I have requested Danny to let us know what would be the right thing to do, because I think that since cat herder are on the receiving end of the bounty, so I'm not sure if it would be right to put them as the end of creating bounties as well. But if they are running short of hand, we can definitely support, and the person who would be creating bounty would not be the receiving person for that particular note taking. That's my initial thought process, but anybody has any other suggestion how to deal with this kind of issues?
Yeah, I was meaning to reply to that, and I'll work with you offline about that. But basically, I had similar thinking where if ETH2 has a pool of funds for this, which it looks like they do, the problem primarily is that Danny doesn't have enough time to submit those. So because of that, we can jump in, submit them for Danny, and then the pool of funds that are set aside within Gitcoin that ETH2 has to pay for that can be tracked using our system, but we don't pay it out ourselves.
Yeah, the other option that I thought of, and I did try to mention in the email, was like, if they would want to send this pool of fund to the cat herder for, say, for 24 meetings for a year, and then we can manage it with the way we are managing it for all core dev. That way he would not have to worry about it, but he can definitely track with the help of issues or the sheet that we manage.
Yeah, it's great that we gave them the other option. That would absolutely be more complicated is my guess. But if they want to do that, then yeah, let's give them the option.
Okay. I'll try to get back to Danny again on it, or if you would want to.
Yeah, remind me if Danny doesn't reply by Thursday, reach out to me.
Sure, I'll do that.
Great.
Okay, so the next item is diversifying ECH fund side to DAI migration proposed by Charles. I have attached the document that he proposed, and I did see some of the conversation going on in the Twitter channel. Does anybody want to speak for that?
I didn't saw there was actually a document now.
It's in the
okay.
agenda.
Yeah, I'm looking right now.
I think someone took out all the SAI and started transferring it, right? I thought I saw that and then I just didn't pay attention.
No, I don't think so.
Oh,
I think the DAI you see is from the Geekcoin grant.
you're right. You're right.
Yeah, and we said we would basically do it to move it to your wallet, Hudson. So can you do this week?
Yes,
right?
I can do that this week.
So can you create the first multi-sig transaction to move all the SAI to your personal wallet, and I'll approve it? And maybe we just create a public GitHub issue to also track it.
Yes, I can definitely do that. I need to make a new account, just a fresh one to do that with.
Cool.
And then I can do that. Or you know what? It might be better if I use my public account so everything's kind of in the open.
Yeah, if you do have like a public ENS type accounts, that would be.
Yep,
that'd be
I do.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, I'm happy to approve it all. Yep.
Great.
Okay. Moving on, the next item is Edson to work along with Hudson on taking down scam streaming of EF.
Oh, I'm behind on that. I think I mentioned this last call. I have the documents from the Ethereum Foundation about what to do, but like I keep getting stuck because although we want to take down those streams, we'll be destroying people's channels that got hacked that have content on them. So what do people think about us reporting them versus leaving it alone and hoping it goes away so that we don't destroy people's content?
Whose content would this destroy?
Oh, so here's the order of operations of how this happens. Someone has a YouTube channel and they don't secure it very well, but it has a lot of users. Like maybe it's like this dude got a lot of subscriptions 2 to 4 years ago and they do guitar videos. So then this hacker group goes in and they take over the YouTube channel and then they start pretending, they rebrand everything to the Ethereum Foundation and then they start trolling other channels with the Ethereum Foundation name. But masquerading and putting bad content on the channel. And then the owner of the channel can't get back in. They've lost access to it. And so they come to us asking for their access back. And they also, people come to our live streams, like during all core dev calls, angry on the chat saying we've been hacking and trolling and stuff. So we could do takedown requests for all these, like do whack-a-mole, but that would remove videos that are legitimate from those channels as well, because it would remove the whole channel.
But if people, yeah, I guess don't have access to their channels to post new stuff anyway, I don't know. I think the harm done by like people losing their funds is kind of worse than removing a bunch of old videos where people can't even access them.
If it's fund loss, yes. I thought it was some of them, the cases it's just trolling, but I guess we can't know until they actually do the trick or until they actually do the fraud.
So in terms of the channels being stolen, it's still happening, but in terms of the live streaming, I don't see it as often, if at all.
Okay, and when they steal the channels, are you seeing it that they're putting up new videos to steal coins?
So yeah, what I'm seeing is they either remove all of the videos or they just leave all the old videos as is.
Okay, that makes me feel more like we should take it down then. Thanks.
The
That
ones,
makes, yeah, the ones that get hijacked or whatever, we should send out takedown request.
okay. I can create a list.
That'd be great. And someone else emailed me a list, just not even a cat herder, just someone who had been keeping track of it. So maybe we can do a mass reporting. I don't know if that's a thing, and explore that more. I'll work with Edson on that by the end of this week.
Cool, thanks.
Okay, so the next item is Edson will create an account for streaming the events and community calls on Twitch.
Hudson, do you have any updates on that?
Oh yeah, I tried to do that, and the name Ethereum was taken, it says. So I don't know who beat us to it.
So I went to the Ethereum account on Twitch and it doesn't exist. So I think it is available. I think we have to contact support on Twitch to get that name.
Okay, let me put that as not end of this week, but next to do that at latest. Trying to better organize my things I do weekly. Everyone make a Trello board. It helps a lot. If you have trouble keeping up with all your tasks, it's like a project management tool, but I use it for like my personal life and work life. And that's it for me.
Okay, so the last item here, sub item here is ECH website update. I shared the document. That is just the beginning of it. I would encourage people to keep adding stuff, and yeah, we will populate and we'll try to make ECH website more usable so that we can send people over there to get the latest update on it. That's it. Okay. That's it from our side. Okay, I just realized that I may have been missing one of the agenda item, that was the cat herders funding through ecosystem support program and Molotov.
Yeah, we're having a call with the ESP team today from the Ethereum Foundation about support and funding. So we'll see how that goes. And then we're also going to use what we gather from that interaction and maybe make another Moloch DAO request depending on how things go, and then look for other sources of funding as well to support the herder and chief position and other funding goals we have for 2020. So if anyone's interested in the details of that, just reach out to me or Pooja or Tim, because we've been kind of working toward that. There can only be so many people on the ESP call, so we us three were the ones who are going to join that.
Okay. Thank you, Hudson, for that. So that's it for the call today. Any other business? Anybody would want to discuss anything that was not there on the agenda? Good,
Oh, Brent, you're muted.
Okay, there. Sorry about that. Glad I had my camera on so you can tell. But anyway, I just had a link. I just put it in the forum about where Lane responded on one of my issues requesting for funding for the 2.0 notes, and Lane was asking Scott, "Do we have funding for this?"
You mean Danny?
Danny, yeah, Danny asked Scott if we have funding for that. But anyway, I just wanted to point that additional data point out. I didn't have that link back when we talked about that, so That's all I had.
Great.
Yeah, that's helpful. Thank you. Any other item anybody want to discuss? Good, we are 10 minutes early. So the next meeting we can have 2 weeks from now. And yeah, thank you so very much, everybody.
Thanks.
Thank y'all.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks, everyone. Yeah.
Thank you. Bye.